Hello, this is Kirill from forexboat.com and welcome back to the course on testing and optimization in MetaTrader 4. In the previous tutorial, we talked about exporting optimization results into Excel, and today we're going to talk about the recovery factor. So what is the recovery factor? Well, we know that in MetaTrader 4, there are multiple ratios that are already calculated for you. For example, the profit factor, the expected payoff, are both ratios. Then you also just have characteristics such as a drawdown in the terms of value, drawdown in terms of percentages, total number of trades, and profit. Moreover, if you run any one of these optimization results as a backtest, and then you go to the graph and then you go to the report, you can see these same ratios and even more here, such as the number of positions that were won, the short and long positions, and consecutive wins and losses, and so on. However, one ratio that is missing out of all of this is the recovery factor. And I find that the recovery factor is a very important ratio in trading. So what is the formula for the recovery factor? Well, it's pretty simple. The recovery factor is your net profit divided by your max drawdown. And let's have a look at that on an example. So we go back to this chart here, or actually let's probably take a better chart. Let's take one of these top ones. So here you can see that your net profit was from $10,000 to approximately $12,800. So about $2,800 this is your net profit, and that's what is at the in the numerator of the equation, the net profit. So the total profit minus the gross profit minus the gross loss, and the maximum drawdown in dollar terms would be this one. So if you divide your net profit by the maximal drawdown, you get a recovery factor, and basically that means it tells you how quickly a system will be able to recover from a drawdown. So if your maximum drawdown is say $2,000 and your net profit is $10,000, then your recovery factor will be 5, meaning so a system with a higher recovery factor will climb out of its drawdowns faster, and that's what you want to happen when you're trading, for your system to be able to get out of these drawdowns, which inevitably will happen because we can't predict everything 100%. We will always have times when the system is underperforming. So, but we want the system to be able to escape or climb out of these as quickly as possible. So that's what the recovery factor tells you about. And unfortunately, it's not in MetaTrader 4 and not in any of the optimization results. But we can easily fix that by exporting results into Excel and adding that as an extra column. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. Here I have the results that we exported last time, and after column G, I'm just going to add a new column. So I'll right click here and I'll click insert, and here I will call it recovery factor. And for the formula, you want to divide your profit, which is your net profit here, you want to divide that by your drawdown percent. So that's what we're going to type in here. We're going to type in equals, and then you just click left on your keyboard, profit divided by drawdown into the dollar one. So you get a percentage here, but what we don't want to see it as a percentage. We want to see it as a number. So we're going to our ratio, when we're going to right click and we're going to click format cells, and in this window we're just going to click number, and maybe 1 decimal point is sufficient for us. So we have a ratio now, and all you have to do now is just double click on this little box in the corner. You just need to double click it, and it will copy the formula across to going down. So now if you click on the formula, you'll see that all of them are calculated as the net profit divided by the maximum drawdown. I'm just going to freeze the top pane. So if you just click on any cell and then you go to data You go to view, sorry, and then you go to freeze pane and you click freeze top row. Now if you scroll, the top row is frozen. And I'm sure many of you are already familiar with these Excel techniques. I'm just making sure that everybody is able to follow. And now you can see that this recovery factor has been calculated. I'm just going to change the color here quickly so that we can visually so we can see it better. So maybe that's gray enough. All right, so what we want to do is now we want to look for the best recovery factors. Say if we order by profit now, then you'll see that the recovery factor is quite high here for some of the trades. Actually, I don't really like this gray. Let's make it light green. As you can see, the recovery factor is quite high, and we'll talk more about this in the next tutorial, but you want to be aiming for a recovery factor of at least 2. But an interesting thing that you might notice is that the recovery factor for this best result is not as good as the recovery factor for this result, which in terms of profit is lower. And let's have a look at these two results back in MetaTrader 4 and see why, if we can spot the difference visually. So if we go to MetaTrader 4 and we order by profit, we run the first one. So there's our chart, and we can even save this as picture, and we'll save it as Rec F1. And now if we go to optimization results and actually we go to our spreadsheet, this is 1496 is the run. So if we set this one as input parameters and we run it now, go to the graph and save as picture, we'll call this one 2. And now if we look at them side by side, so this is the second one that we ran, the less profitable one, and this is the first one that we ran. You will notice right away that it does make sense that the recovery factor of this result is better than this one, because this set climbs out of the drawdowns faster. So here it only took maybe 5 new trades to climb out of this drawdown, whereas here it took maybe 10 trades from trade number 41 to trade number 51, or even more, to climb out of this drawdown. And that's exactly that proves our point. So recovery factor is a very important parameter, and I think it should be in the standard set of parameters or ratios in MetaTrader 4, but however it's not at this stage. Nevertheless, we're able to calculate it in Excel. That's all for today. In the next tutorial, we'll talk about which parameters you should focus on when optimizing your expert advisors in MetaTrader 4. And until then, happy trading.